Hi, I'm Stuart. Welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back. Thanks for viewing my video. In this video, I'm going to do the quarter and chapter tag. I was tagged in a video by Cliff at Cliff's Dark Gems. Per Cliff, let's look back at my year so far with the quarter and chapter tag. The tag was created by Nikki at My Messy Bookshelf. The quarter and chapter tag looks back on the quarter's reading without focusing too much on the numbers. I was reflecting on this past quarter's reading and decided to turn it to a tag. There are 6 prompts in this tag. The first 4 are chapters, then an epilogue, and then tag others as an optional prompt. Before I start, I do recognize that I'm doing this toward the end of May. The first quarter ended at the end of March, but this is for just the first quarter. I thought of doing it just the current times. I was able to come up with my answers for just the first quarter. Chapter 1, the beginning. What were some of your reading goals going into the quarter? What was the first thing you read? My 3 goals going into the year were 52 books during 2026, read 14,000 pages during 2026, listen to 108 hours of audiobooks during 2026, and I did have a January goal to read at least a page every day. This is a Storygraph challenge. They do it January every year. And also, as part of chapter 1, the beginning, what was the first thing you read? I completed The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury on January 1, but I read most of it late 2025. So the first book I read all of in 2026 was When We Were Monsters by Jennifer Niven. I started it on January 4 and I completed it on January 11. Chapter 2, the plot twist. Did you have any unexpected 5-star reads? I didn't have any unexpected 5-star reads. Did you try anything new? Format, genre, buddy reads, events, journaling. I did read my first sports romance, Game Changer by Rachel Reed. I didn't try any new format because I've already read physical, digital, and listened to audiobooks. And although I haven't done many buddy reads, I did do a few prior to this year. I did do a couple of events for the first time. The first was Cozy-a-thon, January 4th through the 11th, created and moderated by Steph at Phone to Steph. And I did Controlled by the Rollathon, which is also another readathon created and moderated by Steph at Phone to Steph. I haven't done any journaling. I do keep a diary. I think it's kind of a different. A diary, I think, is a little different than a journal. But I have thought about doing a journal and maybe getting a little away from the diary, because the diary is just a recitation of what I do during the day, where a journal would be more about my thoughts and feelings on stuff. So I've thought about doing a journal. It might not be book specific, but it is something I've thought about. Something where I would just talk more about what I felt during the day and not just a recitation of the things I did. The next is Chapter 3, the conflict. What was your biggest disappointment? I didn't have a big disappointment. I was a little disappointed in The Vampire Mind by Anne Rice and Merrick by Anne Rice. In both cases, the disappointment was in some thoughts and actions that were committed. Some actions that were committed or thoughts that were thought towards minors. There was things that disturbed me. I talked a lot about that in my these books in the past, so if you've seen those videos, you know what I'm talking about. But I was a little disappointed in those parts of it, how children were thought about or treated in those books. Both haven't actually rated them yet. I'm way behind doing the review. Both were 4-star reads probably, but did enjoy them, but a little disappointment there. Second part of this is, did you DNF any books? And I haven't DNF'd any books. Don't tend to DNF, although some books I stop reading and don't get back to, so it's, I suppose, sort of a DNF, but I don't often officially DNF a book. The further part of this chapter 3, the conflict, is, was there anything that made reading harder this quarter? What's made it harder is I've spent a lot of time playing video games, and the time playing video games is time I don't read. I'm a little taken by surprise that I've become so addicted to video games, because I've had a kind of a love-hate relationship with them. But it's just a matter of achieving better balance. I've still read a fair amount for a typical reader, but those of us on here are probably not typical. We probably read more than most, so I am a little behind on my goals, despite having read a fair amount for an average person. The final part of this chapter is, what genre are you a little over right now? I'm not really over any genre. I read widely, so I don't tend to get tired of a genre because I mood read, so I'm just kind of going where the mood takes me. So I haven't gotten tired of any genre. Chapter 4, the resolution. Is there any book that stuck with you emotionally? What was the last book you read? What was your favorite book of the quarter? Well, The Blackboard Jungle by Evan Hunter stuck with me emotionally, but not in a good way. I've talked a lot about the issue I had with that book, the main issue, so it is stuck with me emotionally, but in a bad way. Kind of made me angry. Still rated the book 3 stars, and I overall was glad I read it, but I can't think of a book that, even though I've enjoyed most of the books I've read this year, the book that's necessarily stuck with me emotionally in a positive way. I think I need a little more time for that, but the negative thing of the Blackboard Jungle, I don't think that's going to go away. And what was your favorite book of the quarter? My favorite was Mate by Ellie Hazelwood. Epilogue. Moving forward, do you have any new goals? Are you leaving any goals behind? Well, I want to get back to reading some Fable book club books. I just totally stopped in the latter part last year. I was feeling kind of constrained, but I do want to get back to doing some of it. Reading some of the books for those book clubs that I'm part of. I'm not really leaving any goals behind because my goals are pretty simple, like I said above. I did lessen them from the year before, though, but that's not something I've done. I did in the first quarter this year. Okay, and finally, optional tag others. First, anyone who wants to do this, consider yourself tagged. I'm not going to tag anybody because it is, as I said above, the latter part of May as I record this, and I feel funny about tagging somebody to do a tag that's supposed to be done not long after the first quarter. But if you want to do it, that's fine. I had considered doing it just to current times that I record the video. That would be an option. Or if you want, anything obviously that you wanted to do, modify this. But if you'd like to answer one or more of the prompts in my comments or a video of your own, please do so. If you can't think of anything else you'd like to comment, please add an emoji. Pick an emoji of your choice. I hope you're having a wonderful reading week. I hope you're having a wonderful week in general. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, please subscribe. Please hit the bell to get notified when I upload future videos.